crying, watching over us as time goes by. Singing and crying, watching over us as time goes by. Just a little love, just a little love.
Shalom and welcome to Hebrew Bible Secrets with your host, Rabbi Jeremy Beaton. We are reading today from the book of Matthew, starting at chapter 10. 1. And when he had called to him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean ruach, demonic spirits, to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. 2. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first, Shimon, who is called Kepha, Peter, and Andrei, his brother, Yaakov, the son of Zabdi, and Yochanan, John, his brother. 3. Philip and Bartholomew, Toma and Matthias, the tax collector, Yaakov and the son of Alphaeus, and Lebbe, whose surname was Thadde. 4. Shimon the Zealot, and Yehuda, Quiriath, Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth, and commanded them, saying, Do not get into the way of the heathens, and into any city of the Samaritans do not enter. 6. But go rather to the scattered sheep of the Beth Israel, house of Israel, 10 tribes. 7. And as you go, proclaim, saying, The kingdom of Shamayim is near. The kingdom of heaven is near. 8. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, and cast out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. 9. Provide neither gold nor silver, nor brass in your purses. 10. Nor scribe for your journey, neither an extra tunic, neither sandals, nor staff, for the workman is worthy of his hire. 11. And whatever city or town you shall enter into, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till you leave. 12. And when you come into the Beth, a house, greet those in it with shalom. 13. And if the Beth house be worthy, let your shalom come upon it. But if it not be worthy, let your shalom return to ye. 14. And whosoever shall not receive ye, nor hear your words, when you depart out of that Beth, that house or city, shake off the dust off your feet. 15. Verily I say to you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. 16. Behold, I send ye forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. 17. But beware of men, for they will give ye up to the congregational committees, and they will scourge ye in their congregations. 18. And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the heathens. 19. But when they hand ye over, take no thought on how or what you shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what you shall speak. 20. For it is not you that speak, but the Ruach Spirit of your Av, of your Father, which speaks in you. 21. And the brother shall hand over brother to death, and the Av his child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. 22. And you shall be hated of all for my name's sake, but he that endures to the end shall be rescued. 23. But when they persecute ye in this city, flee into another. For verily I say to you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man returns. 24. The disciple is not above his rabbi, nor the servant above his master. 25. It is not enough for the disciples to be like his rabbi, and the servant to be like his master. If they have called the rabbi of the Beth house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call the members of his household? 26. Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. 27. What I say to you in dark, that you speak in light, and what you hear in the ear, that proclaim from the housetops. 28. And fear them not which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in Sheol. 29. Are not the 2 sparrows sold for a copper coin? And not one of them shall fall on the ground apart from your Av's will. 30. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. 31. Fear not therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. 32. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Av, which is in the Shamayim, which is in the heavens. 33. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Av, which is in the Shamayim. 34. Think not that I am come to send shalom on the earth. I came not to send shalom, but a sword. 35. For I have come to set a man at variance against his Av, his father, and a daughter against her her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. 36. And a man's enemies shall be of his own household. He that loves Av or mother or father, more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. 38. And he that took not his execution stake and follows after me is not worthy of me. 39. He that finds his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. 40. He that receives ye receives me, and he that receives me receives him that has sent me. 41. He that receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he that receives a righteous man in the name of righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. 42. And whosoever shall give to drink to one of these little ones a cup of cold mayim, cold water, only in the name of his disciple, verily I say to you, he shall in no wise lose his reward. So there now ends chapter 10, and let's have a look at the footnotes for chapter 10. Okay, the first footnote we have is in verse 4. So Shimon the Zealot. Okay, so we have from the Aramaic, the New Testament called the Koboris text. Okay, so that's from the Koboris text. So let's have a look at the next footnote, which is in verse 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, do not get into the way of the heathens. So let's have a look at this word, the way. So we have here pagan practices from the Aramaic. You have Yahweh's way or the pagan way. Most Christians today live in pagan practices which are incompatible with Yahweh's way. Okay, so let's have a look at the next footnote, which is the way of the heathens. So we have heathens here. So this has nothing to do with not going into the lost sheep or the lost house of Israel, but more to do with the pagan practices of the heathen round about. Okay, so basically avoid the heathen practices. Basically come out of the churches and return back to the commandments. Okay, and the next footnote we have, and into any cities of the Samaritans do not enter. Okay, into any cities. So we have here, the Aramaic has plural cities instead of city. The Samaritans had many cities. Okay, so the next footnote after that is verse 6. But go rather to the scattered sheep of the Beth Israel, house of Israel. So let's have a look at this word, scattered. These are not lost sheep, as you might lose a coin, but they are scattered in the world, and one day need to be gathered and restored. The Greek word here used is apollomi, or apollomi, which is the Strong's Concordance G622. The word more accurately means destroy or destroyed. If Yahweh had destroyed the 10 tribes, then the onus is on him to restore them as per the covenant. And if he does not, then he would be in breach, but Yahweh will restore them fully. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 12. And when you come into a Beth, into a house, greet those in it with shalom. Okay, let's have a look at this word, shalom. Okay, this is the standard Hebrew greeting that Yahushua did. Okay, and this has spiritual blessings too. Okay, so, greet people with peace, shalom. And it has many spiritual blessings with it. Okay, let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 14. And whosoever shall not receive ye, nor hear your words, when you depart out of the Beth, the house or city, shake off the dust. Okay, so we have so the first footnote here is nor hear your words. Okay, let's have a look at this word, words. The words of Torah. Okay, so Torah is paramount, what we're talking about here. Return back to the commandments, yeah. So the next footnote after that is in the same verse. When you depart out of that Beth, that house or city, shake off the dust. So let's have a look at this. Dust. Shaking the dust means you return the contempt that this house has shown to the Torah truth back onto them. Okay, so if you've left the house and they didn't obviously receive the words of Torah, then you shake off the dust from your shoes, basically returning back the contempt. Okay? Shaking off the dust, we have a continuation here, which is any of the dust of the land of the Gentiles, which defiles in the tent and pollutes the purity of the land of Israel, must not be brought back, since the dust of Israel is even set apart, holy. The famous Hebrew scholar Rambam said the following, that the dust of a field that has a grave in it, and the dust which is outside the land of Israel, defile by touching and carrying. Or if, when it hangs at the end of a herb, when the root is out of the dust of such a field, it is unclean. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 17. But beware of men, for they will give ye up to their congregational committees, and they will scourge ye in their congregations. Okay, let's have a look at this word, congregations. The Hebrew people were brought before church councils to be punished later for what these people called Judaism. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 18. And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the heathens. So let's have a look at this word, heathens. The same heathens will fight with Israel today, who keep Torah and profane their name and call them heretics, as it is prevalent in many churches. Okay, so we're talking about those who follow the church doctrines. This is what we're talking about here, the heathens. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 21. And the brother shall hand over brother to death. Let's have a look at this. Over to death. In Islam, it is a common practice to kill, whether it is a brother or their father, for honor. Okay, so we're talking here about the Muslims, yeah? Once Muslims obviously come back to the understanding of Torah, they will be killed by their brothers and their fathers, because obviously they've come out of Islam and returned back to the commandments. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in the same verse. And the brother shall hand over brother to death, and the Av his child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. Okay, let's have a look at this last footnote here, to death. The end times Islamic beast will have its children murdered for conversion from the Islamic faith into Christianity. But they should convert to Torah. Unfortunately, some will become Christians to live idolatry and die. Okay, so these conversions, were obviously Muslims who returned back to the Christian faith, or followed the ways of the Christian, rather than keeping the ways of the Torah, which is, what the Father commanded us to do, to keep the Torah, not to obviously follow after Christianity. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 22. And you shall be hated of all for my name's sake. So let's have a look at this. Hated of all. So the Gentiles. So the Gentiles are going to hate you, obviously, if you're keeping the Torah, because you are, keeping God's commandments. So let's go to the next footnote. For my name's sake. So name's sake, we have here, only the radical Muslims hate the Christians. The rest of the world does not care. Okay. So the next footnote after that. But he that endures to the end shall be rescued. So he that endures, let's have a look at this, endures persecution and does not falter and convert back to where he came from. Okay, so obviously many of those will be returning back to the Torah. Okay, so he that endures shall be rescued. So even if he does lose his life, the person will be raised up because, he's endured to the end. Even if it meant death, he came back to the Torah. Okay, let's have a look at the next footnote, which is in verse 23. But when they prosecute ye in this city, flee into another. For verily I say to you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man returns. Okay, over the cities of Israel. Let's have a look at this quickly. The scattered tribes are all over the world, and we will not have time in our lifetime to visit all their cities. The reference is global and not concerning Israel only today. Is Yahweh then going to punish them with hellfire, those we cannot reach? The answer, according to Christianity, is yes. But according to the Tanakh, it's no. See our footnotes on Ezekiel 37 to get an understanding of this phenomenon about the house of Israel and its beautiful resurrection. Okay, let's have a look at this then. Ezekiel 37, let's go into that quickly. I think it's quite important that we touch on this. Okay, Ezekiel 37, so I'm going to read 37, 1 to 6. So, Ezekiel 37, 1. The hand of Yahweh was upon me, and carried me out in the Ruach, the Spirit of Yahweh, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones. 2. And caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and behold, they were very dry. 3. And he said to me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Master, Yahweh, you know. 4. Again he said to me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say to them, O you dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. 5. Thus says Master Yahweh to these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall have life. 6. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall have life, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Okay, so we have two footnotes there, 5 and 6. I want to read these footnotes because I think they're quite important. So the first footnote we have here, and you shall have life. Let's have a look at that. You shall have life. Okay. Time to resurrect those that belonged to the house of Israel. The resurrection of these does not require them to know or follow any other, but these only need to belong biologically to Israel. So biology does indeed count. So these are biological Israel, okay? Those who have died and will be raised up. But let me read on to the next footnote, which is, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Okay, so we have here, clearly these people who were biological Israelites died in the scattering and may have adopted other religions such as Islam, Hinduism, or whatever. Yahweh resurrects them, puts a new spirit into them, and then they know who Yahweh really is, because they did not know previously. Some of these could have been born in exile lands and died without any message of the Torah in their lives, in false religion systems like Christianity. So you see, there's quite a lot going on there, but you know, this is what we're saying. A lot of these people who have died not realizing, you know, or hearing the message of Torah will be raised up by the Father because they are biological Israel. So therefore, they will be given a chance to return back to the Torah and keep the commandments. Okay, so I think that's, you know, that's something to really look forward to, you know, within the time. It's a prophecy that hasn't yet been fulfilled, so we look forward to that. Okay, let's go to the next footnote, verse 25. It is enough for the disciples to be like his rabbi, and the servant to be like his master. If they have called the rabbi of the Beth house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call the members of his household? So let's have a look at this word Beth house. Okay, so we have here So, teaching center. Okay, so obviously this is where the people being taught, the Beth House. Okay, so the next footnote is Beelzebub. So we have here, there is a sod meaning in this, that Yahweh will raise many good teachers at the end of days, and some will try to put them down, but ultimately the ones trying to put them down will fail and will be judged at the end. They will call their teachers demon-possessed and say all sorts of vile things about them. So, if you have students who are doing this, then the prophecy is being fulfilled as we speak. Be comforted. Yahweh has chosen you for this cause, and great is your reward, teachers. So let's go to the next footnote, which is, and how much more shall they call the members of his household? So let's have a look at this word household. So they will label the rabbi's household evil and call his children and his wives names. But this is to be expected. Many will defect from their own houses and turn against them. If this is happening to you, then great is your reward. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is verse 26. Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed. So let's have a look at this. Fear them not. So we have here, we are not to fear such people, or the vile attempts to put down true Torah precepts, even at the cost of persecution. Okay, so the next footnote after that, which is in verse 27. What I say to you in dark, that you speak in light, and what you hear in the ear. Okay, so let's have a look at this, here in the ear. So this is idiomatic expression, where a Hebrew doctor would speak something in Hebrew in the ear of a person, and he would tell the whole public. The next footnote after that is a continuation. And what you hear in the ear, that proclaim from the housetops. Okay, let's have a look at this word, housetops. The first century houses had flat roofs, so likewise many houses in the east have flat roofs, where the message is to ripple off to other joining neighbours, who come and join you on the rooftops as the houses are joined together. Okay, so I think that's quite explanatory, self-explanatory. Let's go to the next footnote, which is 28. And fear them not which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in Sheol. So let's have a look at this word Sheol. Sheol is obviously, what some call hell as well, yeah? But the actual Hebrew word for Sheol, for hell, is Sheol. When the rebellious Malakim, the rebellious angels, demons and the devil will be thrown into the lake of fire for eternal, conscious, everlasting punishment, according to Revelation 20:10. They will suffer forever. In the reality, the soul of every human being, unless it is a redeemed soul, is not eternal and will not be allowed to live. The Torah commands capital punishment, which is death. So in likeness, the capital punishment for the soul after torment in Sheol is destruction or cessation of life. The soul is clothed with eternity only if you adhere to Torah commandments. That means keeping the commandments. The one verse which speaks about eternal conscious torture is Revelation 14:10 for some individuals, and it is also open to debate since there is no second witness. The demon controlling the beast would be eternally cast and punished but humans would burn to ashes. Humans are not punished in hell forever. Okay, let's go to the next footnote, which is 32. And whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Av, which is in the Shemayim, the heaven. So let's have a look at this. The men reference here is to the tribes. The Torah keepers have a reserved place into the kingdom. The verse was inserted 50 years after the gospel was written by a Catholic scribe. It does not mean you martyr yourselves in front of the enemy. Judaic law permits one to accept a false conversion at the point of death, which can later be recanted. Many have needlessly died reading this verse, which is not Torah law. So let's say, for instance, you were approached by radicals, and the radicals obviously said, you have to convert, otherwise you're going to die. So rather to avoid death, you would say, okay, yeah, I'll revert, and then later you can recant that, conversion. So that's what we're talking about here. Okay, so don't give up your life, basically, because you didn't want to convert, if it means your death because you don't convert. So therefore, convert and then recant after. So let's have a look at the next footnote, which is 35. For I have come to set a man at variance against his Av, his father, and the daughter against her her mother. So let's have a look at this word mother. So that's from the Bavli Talmud, 97a. It has been taught by our Nehorai, said, in the generation when Messiah comes, young men will insult the old, and old men will stand before the young to give them respect. Daughters will rise up against their mothers, and daughters-in-law against their mothers-in-law. The people shall be dog-faced, and a son will not be abashed in his father's presence. So I think, we all understand we're at that time now. Yeah, so these things are going on as we speak. Okay, let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 37. And he that loves Av or mother or father, more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Okay, let's have a look at this last me. Since he is Yahweh in the flesh, yes, that love follows as instructed in Deuteronomy 6:5. Okay, so let's have a look at this, Deuteronomy 6:5. So Deuteronomy 6:5, but we'll go to 6:4 first. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Supreme One. Yahweh is Akkad, one. 5. And you shall love Yahweh your power with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. Okay, so if what we're talking about here from the last footnote, you love your mother and father before putting Yahweh first, then it's saying you are not worthy of the Father and His Son. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 38. And he that took not his execution stake and follows after me is not worthy of me. So let's have a look at this execution stake. So the Greek stavros is not a cross as depicted in films, but an upright execution stake, tree as we know. So this is just, it's like just a big long stake wood, a pole kind of thing, but obviously quite thick. So it's not a cross, it's just a big long pole of wood, stick of wood, okay? quite thick. Okay, let's have a look at the next footnote, which is verse 42. And whoever shall give to drink to one of these little ones a cup of cold mayim, a cup of cold water. So let's have a look at these little ones. The little ones are the Hebrew people. If the Gentiles hate the Hebrew people, that will be a big problem for their eternal life. Okay, so obviously, you've got to understand, the Israelites, or the little ones, are people of color. Yeah? So if anybody hates the people of color, then obviously they're not going to get into eternity. Because, obviously they hate, the Father's chosen, who are people of color. Alright, so that now brings us to the end of chapter 10. So I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the other side. This is Rabbi Jeremy Beaton saying thank you for watching. Shalom, shalom.